Keep silence, please. The children are sleeping. In a ruined monastery, ivy has grown in the dark, wet corner. Rain did not pour on its dry leaves. A sun ray got into a gloomy imprisonment and warmed the poor, dying plant. Life started to wake up in it. A thin branch gradually, slowly, rising higher and higher, finally reached a narrow window and passed through the iron bars. Outside, it could enjoy the living, refreshing sunrise. This branch has been growing and had covered the entire wall with green and made it nice and fresh looking. It can happen to a soul imprisoned in a thin gloom. When divine beam penetrates, in a joyful trembling wakes up in the soul. It recovers and grows and gets ready to a new life. Marina, what's wrong with your sheet? Natasha, good night. Let your angel be here protect you. Come to me. Come on, go to bed, everybody. A freckle. And what am I? A hard worker. Sweetheart, good night. This is our field. It's situated on the height a bit. We had an idea, together with the builders and architects, that this field should not be leveled. When we should leave such a relief terrain, let one house stay higher, another one stay lower. We want to make a pond and to build a shop. I think we can build about 50 houses on this territory, and there will be a garden around each house.
Конечно, вокруг дома, чтобы у каждого был свой садик. Подарила Боженька мне тебя, дороженька, хожу по свету я, ни на что не сетуя.
God presented this road to me. I wander around the world without any complaint. I talk to a wind in the field where the soul is free, singing songs and forget the sorrow. Gosh, what a beauty, says everyone passing along this road. It turns out that there are such monasteries in Russia that have deep forests and dense jungle around. Every monastery lacks a human being. A man has its own face, own image and its own destiny. But this place is a unique one. Solba is a small river slowly curling between high banks in the center of Russia. It has cold and pure water because of numerous springs. Besides, the river is shadowed by forests. The monks went from the world to such places in the 14th century, but the world came to them. But now there are very few villages by the river and very few people left there. In ancient times, Николо-Sольбинский monastery had a different name. It was called the Sergei and Nikolai Wideness. It was founded when prayerful Russia spent its treasures to build monasteries and churches. People call such places the sacred ones. Sergei peoples, their deeds, monasteries founded by him, are their continuity of Sergei deeds. The result of his spiritual influence is a surprisingly rich history of our motherland. The rise of Russian spirit started from Sergei deeds. Peasants lived around monasteries. The monastery was served as a loan cash desk from them and a sanctuary when they grow old. Monasteries were the large centers of education and culture. You are salt of the earth. So Jesus Christ called his peoples. In the life of the Orthodox Church, there always existed persons who were salt of the earth. Today's Russia demands not less self-sacrifice for the renaissance of the motherland. If we take a look at the convent from the river, we can see a wooden church of Sergei of Radonezh. It looks like a fairy tale picture. It looks as if taken from the Nestorov picture, Child Bartholomew's vision. It's not big, made of wooden, and is very cozy. I thought we'd make a small house, a simple one, and it has turned to be a very graceful one in honor of Venerable Sergei. This is a miraculous place. Later we came to know why Sergei used to pay much attention to this place. We read in the chronicles that long ago this monastery was called Sergei Wilderness at Solba. It means the Venerable was connected with his monastery. This idea confirmed by the fact that there were icons of Venerable Sergei and Saint Nikolai at full height by the entrance. The icons also returned to us. They say Venerable Sergei of Radonezh and Saint Nikolai took part in the Renaissance revival of the monastery. The appearance of a spring is a sign of God's ideal thoughts. The idea was to build a cave temple in the honor of Russia, monastic schism founders Feodosy and Anthony of Peshera. Local people said that there had been springs, but when the desolation came, the springs disappeared. When the workers went for lunch, we gathered together and sang canticles and sorrowed that we did not have a spring at our convent. When they were digging, a dishwater sprang up. The Solba monastery was one of the oldest centers of Orthodox culture. At the beginning of 19th of the last century, the monastery, deprived of its domes, looked like a wounded bird. This is not only an old wilderness with its history. This monastery is a martyr. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the monastery had no prayer for a long time. Chronicles say there were very few monks and that could not keep the monastery. In 1993, the Holy Synod made a radical decision to rename Николо-Сольбинская wilderness from men's to ladies. Mother Macaria's skillful housekeeping and hard-working sisters took the convent to a real prosperity. The history of the monastery was interrupted in 1918, after it had been abolished. An agriculture commune had been formed instead of the monastery in its place. Николо-Сольбинский monastery was closed, one of the first in Russia. Like many Russian churches, the monastery came to harm during years of persecution for faith. The wealth of the monastery attracted envy. In order to uneasy Rabbin conscience and God's fear were declared the past vestiges. Members of the commune wasted all the wealth of the monastery in 3 years. The commune stopped to exist. One of the former communards remembered what an abundance they found entering the monastery. A lot of goods and grain and firewood had been stored. They all screamed, "Hurrah!" and it looked as if the things were enough for the whole life. But they had used everything in less than a year. He confessed, "What fool we were! All were screaming, 'Hurrah! Hurrah!' In fact, we should have screamed, 'Fools we are!' instead." When God punishes a man, he loses his mind. Many our ancestors lost their minds when decided to build kingdom of God with human brain. They received empty villages, rugged and devastated fields. This is a consequence of God's punishment to our people. During the Great Patriotic War, there was a children's shelter, asylum, and later a lunatic asylum. In the 60s, the unique walls with towers were destroyed to build roads. The monastery revival seemed impossible. Who and what who could start building in such solitude in the forest, far from the city? Nun-Erotida assigned it a prioress of the reviving convent, and 3 sisters arrived at the bank of Solba in winter 1999. Not many people believed at that time that the monastery would revive.
И познакомились с этим монастырем, но еще монастырь это нельзя было как бы назвать.
We got acquainted with the monastery. When I came for the first time, it could not be called a monastery. That's the mother with several sisters, broken down floors, cockroaches, rats seemed to appear. There were frozen flowers at the windows. People were living and restoring all this. They even supported us with their prayers. It was improbable.
Сейчас в обители идет огромное строительство, возводятся монастырские стены и храмы.
The Snow-White temple built in honor of Saint Nikolai meets all who come to the Николо-Сольбинский monastery. But the main temple is Успенский one. Be blissful, be who is in death of the quiet full of wisdom. Reconstruction of the monastery has opened the main idea of the world gathering, when people, no matter their wealth, education, or social status, gather together for the common sake, to rise up the broken relic. Christ has raised from the dead. Amen. Christ has raised from the dead. Amen. Nothing is done by occasion in the life. God connects people in a miraculous way, ordering them His affairs. Mother thinks that the miracle of the convent revival is made by God's favor. There are people who help with money and those who help with labor. Have a look at the domes. They are made by our workers. I meant drawing for the communications. I think Russia started to be from here. Monasteries and villages are being revived. This is a great beginning of our Russia. There is no such architecture either in Italy or in Spain. I traveled through half of the world, visited all large churches. I can't compare them to our churches. Ours are better.
Сейчас
Sergei Abozov, a man who dedicated many years to science, thinks that now a process of our people's soul revival is beginning. I have many personal attitude to what's going on in the convent. We have seen so many miracles in this field. I saw that Mother did what a wide range of aims she pointed at. I confess there was a moment of murmur that she wanted too much. It's impossible. Such great plans are risky, even for cool men. But she took us to that village. She's got a lot of ideas. There are some businessmen who understand money, don't make them happy. People more and more often think that they are living for. God leads us, and our heart follows Him. God's leading us. They left Moscow and started to live here. A man who does not need too much. All new is forgotten past. Russian national idea is clearly shown in the Bible. A belief, a cross, an escape sins and follow God's precepts, and everything will be all right. Let the monasteries be your shelter. Come to them, take part in them, and count them down in their poverty. If you have anything they need, bring it to them. You're given in God's hands. Give what you have, and you'll get 100 times more. Pilgrims walk and drive to Solba. The silence here is broken only by the bells or the children's voices. But the most important is that here is the place where all people smile and are ready to talk to you. There is a spirit of kindness and humor among the sisters. There is no fighting atmosphere of coldness and unfriendliness than can be found in some monasteries. There is such an unusual grace of God here. Come here, everybody, to help this convent, these people. They have some difficulties. I wish all people helped them. I am surprised. I am astonished. How much energy, love, power of faith the woman should have. She managed to make so many good things for the people. Mother hopes that time will come and they will be given monastery land. Many former workers of Saint-Triantric Asylum live on the convent territory. In order to solve all the problematic questions, the inhabitants were given new houses, purchased in villages around. But people don't hurry to leave the monastery. You know, I wake up in the morning, open my eyes and see two glary crosses. I sit on the staircase and they are singing and the sound flows over the river. They sing great. They have built us nice houses. That's true. But still I feel sorry to leave. Historically, this land belonged to us, the monastery ground. The village appeared by the hospital after the monastery had been locked. We brought several houses, but some people remained. Now 12 families remained. According to the agreement, we buy or build houses for the people. A very good keller. Besides, there's a bath made out of new logs. But today they agree to leave and tomorrow they don't. Despite some people consider monastic prayers insignificant, they fasten the entire world. If you take the monastic clergy away from the world, as if a dry, fruitless stick of the grapevine, what would happen to the world?
Что тогда станется с
prelate
миром?
Dmitry of Rostov.
Сами судите.
Give us time to become strong, to glorify you properly. A
Открылся
cantor
при
class
монастыре
for
и
girls
регенский
who
класс
wish to
для
become a
девушек,
cantors is
желающих стать
opened in the
руководителями
convent.
церковного хора.
Holiday ding dong is heard everywhere. The monastery take them at its complete expense. Here the sisters learn music and choir singing. Nuns created their chorus. They recorded several discs. Music is a wonderful gift. It's a love expression to the whole world.
Миру.
An orphan asylum is so far placed in an administration building. Children also learn the secret of a spiritual music. It's been open said to them easy because their souls are clear, and this unknown world is closer to their hearts. Russia is just like me. The sun is shining, and the wind is blowing, and it's raining, and there is a rainbow in the sky. The warm spirit of love and care girls open to the world like many flowers and blossoms. Lovely and sociable, they should love
они теперь
themselves.
сами излучают любовь.
You look like my mom. Girls are repairing a bicycle. The chain has fallen down. Nastya, are you holding it there? Be careful with your fingers. All's done, thank you. The convent will take care about the girls until they come to the age.
Монастыря.
Water drops will knock the bottom. Flowers will rise up their thin necks. The sun will dry the tears. Spring in the embroidered dress has come. Water drops will knock the bottom. Flowers will rise up their thin necks. The sun will dry their tears. Spring is embroidered dress has come. They can do everything. They make cakes, they invite guests, learn to sew. The first pancakes is a fake. The second one is for the friends. The third one is for the guests. And the fourth one is for us. Mother Varvara is in good time here and there.
Первое время они, конечно, были.
First they looked so suffered.
А сейчас изо дня в день они
Now,
все
day
выше и
after
выше,
day,
и
they are better.
проходят они и
They study
общие
according to the
школьные такие вот
curricula
образовательные
of a
дисциплины,
secondary
школу,
school
среднюю
and a
школу
music
здесь прям
school.
при монастыре. И музыкальную школу проходят, программу музыкальной школы.
Nice library, spacious rooms, an assembly hall. Nuns pay great attention to the little residents of the children asylum and take care of them. Sometimes they will come and we quarrel. Once we quarreled and all were unfriendly. Everybody was sulky looking as a soap bubble. Then I came to the icon of the Virgin, got to my knees and kissed it. I said, make us friends again. Then I go and Nastya meets me. We dropped to the knees and asked to forgive each other. We embraced and got friends again and lived peacefully. Once Anya said, let's go to the church. I said, no, I will embroider. Then I heard a bell and I felt so good that I ran to the church. Since that time, I wish to go to the church.
Мы как первые самые побежали в храм, мне так понравилось, и теперь мне очень с того раза очень нравится в храм ходить.
When we compare the world and the convent, it's calmer here. In the world, if you did something wrong for a man, he was ready to beat you. If you misbehave here, just come up and say, forgive me, God. And then you are friends again. I think I would not survive in the world. And here I live, thanks God.
И все, и опять дружеские отношения. А так бы в миру я бы уже, наверное, не дожила. А тут я живу, слава Богу.
There are such girls who started to go to school after a long break only when they came to the convent. Sometimes even the adults could not stand the perils these children had to stand. It's very hard to remember what happened when I was a child. I don't want to get back. I don't want to return there. The convent sisters loved Helad Masha. The monastery life with labor and prayer soon became close and easy to her. She tries to help nuns with joy. She eagerly became a convent photographer. She studies in a regent class. And when I saw how she raised her hands and everybody started to sing, my heart was beating like a drum of happiness. I cried of happiness and did not know what to do. She was very short of words before. We gave her so much patience and love. Soon some more girls will come here, so the shelter will widen. The children will be accepted with love by the convent family. Of course, sisters try to surround children's souls with care, but the shelter needs help. Salt like a spice means life power of Orthodox Church, power of love. Not walls, but people are important. Any monastery is being held due to the people. The prioress works hard on the reconstruction of the convent. She puts all her heart and soul into this. And all sisters work same heart looking at her. A prayer, a liturgy, and kind and sincere relations between nuns give power to overcome all obstacles and difficulties. If one thinks that over it can be understood that they don't bear only a spiritual burdens on their shoulders but also work physically. These fine women are pressed for time, and they find the time to meet us, and the Saint Spirit is relied on us, will come again. A monk is a person getting into a stream of obedience. He gives his will to his spiritual teacher. Our ancestors gave a deep notion of a person coming to the monastery to a monk. In Russian, it comes from the word other, different. This means that such people understand life differently, from a spiritual point of view. We listen to the music, emphasize. It teaches us to live, teaches us spirituality. Erotica takes a special care about development of creative abilities that are given to a man by God. I think it's very important. The most education and soul growth are the beginning of everything. These sisters should bring a spiritual light for the people who come to the convent starving for God. The Church is aimed to bring a good message to the world. It makes effort to provide the social and educational activity. Archbishop of Yaroslavl and Rostov Kirill blessed the foundation of the Center of Education and Upbringing in the convent. Now we write the history of the convent. The documents are burst out in different archives and are very difficult to be found. We make a database of order-bearer priests of the Russian Empire in Yaroslavl epoch. We are planning to open a museum where we could make an exhibition with documents and exhibits of how the Orthodox faith was born. The Orthodox Church did not only empathize to the people, but always helped the society by all means. The monasteries always took the main burden of a missionary work on their shoulders. Many glorious traditions that existed long ago in Russia are being revived in the convent. There are the traditions of charity, patronage and help the poor, ill and weak people. A medical center with a patronage mercy service school and an almshouse is planned. People around respect very much the nuns. Work and it influences positively the people's morality and their way of living. A convent bus takes the faithful to the service from the villages around. Grannies are getting off the bus. What an honor to us! Good day, happy holiday! Monasteries become center of social activity. Blue domes with bright stars of the snow-white Solba temple are shining through the poverty of desolated villages. Colorful crosses in stained glass windows of the bell tower are like salvation lighthouses. They fill the souls of the local people with hope for a new, spiritually pure and beautiful life. There has been said a lot about a deep drunkenness of the people. The village now resembles something between an elderly people's shelter and a mentally retarded children asylum that are left by the state on their own. The villages around the convent are dying out. The former resident of this place, Tatiana, has returned to that native place after 20 years as a pilgrim. What was here? A lunatic asylum, ruins and mad. And now I don't want to go away. Such bliss. This is happiness. My heart is full of joy. Mother Evdokia, widow of the priest Nikolai Mantov, is the one and the only inhabitant of Maloilinskoe village. They don't bring and bread to us. There is no shop here. They don't bring mail. Don't know when they will bring my pension. This is not life. And I am 80. Mother Evdokia came here together with her husband 50 years ago. When the priest died, the parish orphaned. He has doing has done and died. There is no road to the village. One can get here only by tractor. The Ilya church has stood here for 300 years. Mother singing a prayer. That's all. Hosanna. Now, this temple is a monastery Metashia. There is a chic hope for a possible continuation of the village life. She will fly away as soon as she sees the sun. Yes, she's flown away. Despite the immensity of what has been done, the mother realized a new project. They built a small village near the convent. It will have its own economical and educational environment. There are families that want to come as soon as possible. Why has such an idea appeared? No village, no young people. The monastery needs qualified personnel. Everything is being done here according to the most modern technical projects. After a bit of thinking out, family with 3 kids has decided to come here. They will study here. We shall live near the church. I shall live in the fresh air. That's why many Orthodox families want to change city vanity to isolation and go to build an Orthodox village on Solba. Today we walked and looked. Different thoughts occur. Where shall we live then? We should fill these empty spaces. We shall help here. Snowflake, you are a good goat. Why are you beating me? I am God edible. On cattle yard of the convent one can see rare birds. There are peasants and peacocks walk in the yard together with ants. These gracious birds bring joy to all who come and especially to the children. Everything around is clear and neat. Good girl, squirrel. That's me, don't worry. All the provision on the nuns' table is of their own production and of high quality. Sisters learn to bake host and bread, to make a very delicious cheese, butter and curd. Love and mercy, conscience, belief, range and prowess, bread and salt, and pain for the motherland, ability to stand all sorrow with angelic patience, and to hold a cross and a sword with the prayer at fight.
До победы с мечом, молитвой и крестом.
The convent keeps an old good tradition of hospitality. As a long time ago, pilgrims can stay in a monastery hotel. They can have monastery meal. There are weekly public meals in the convent. Any needy person is welcome to the table. These holidays and common meals connect people and soften their souls. Girls from the shelter make runs and guests glad with their concerts. All problems in our life are because of misbelieving. Or belief is weak, or this no belief at all. We live in the state of permanent miracle, but we can't see it, for we are pragmatics, and here everything is done according to the God's mercy and the prayer. When you can see so much love and understanding around, you want to change. The question is how long it will last in our mindless city Russia. By the grace of God, that once has settled somewhere deep in heart does not disappear, but always supports and straightens us. Nowadays, when everything seems to decay, Russia needs salt. Only when there's Christ in soul, one can become on salt of the earth. Today, the Solba convent becomes one of the most beautiful monasteries in Russia. If a man occasionally gets to this convent, he always returns here again. Mother invites all to live and to work in the name of God. The convent will grateful with a prayer accept any help, financial, material, experts consultation, help in building and in any other activities. We'd be sincerely grateful to all who wish to help us to restore the convent. This is truly a God's place, beloved by the Lord.